There's a version of you that everybody loves. It's the calm version, the dependable version, the strong version, the version that everyone remembers, the version that handles everything, resolves everything, the version that everyone calls when they need support, the version that everyone trusts to figure it out. But what happens when the person that everyone else expects to hold things together starts to quietly fall apart? Because some of y'all are not burnt out from work. You are burnt out from it being emotionally available for everyone all the time. And the hardest part, most people don't even recognize that you're struggling because you've gotten so good at functioning while exhausted. You answer texts, you show up for work, you smile, you keep producing, you keep helping, you keep resolving. Meanwhile, your body is screaming for rest, and your mind hasn't been quiet in months. And I think most people have mistaken survival skills as personality traits. Hi, Insiders. I'm Andrea, and welcome back in the room. This is a space for those of us trying to reset without judgment, the space for those of us looking to reconnect with ourselves without shame, without performance, and without pretending like everything is okay. A space for us to unpack the patterns that shape how we think, how we move through life, and how we carry ourselves emotionally. But one thing we don't do here is stay stuck. We acknowledge what's happening, we learn from it, and then we are moving right along. So if you've been carrying everybody lately, take a seat, take up space, and let's move. I think one of the most dangerous things about being a highly capable person is that people stop checking on you. And eventually, you stop checking on yourself too. Some people do not become highly functioning because they were ambitious. They became high functioning because life taught them that they had to be. A lot of people learn very early that being useful kept things stable. Being emotionally aware made other people feel comfortable. So now, as adults, you instinctively manage everything: the energy in the room, people's mood, the logic, the emotions, the outcome. And because you're good at it, people assume there's no cost to you. But it's actually costing you a lot. It costs mental space, emotional energy, rest, presence, peace, sometimes identity. Because when you spend enough years becoming someone that everyone else needs, you eventually lose touch of who you are outside of that role. And this is why some people feel uncomfortable resting, not because they don't want peace, because stillness removes the role. If I'm not helping, who am I? If I'm not producing, who am I? If I'm not fixing things, who am I? That question makes a lot of people deeply uncomfortable, better than they know how to experience themselves. Let's talk about something that people don't discuss enough. Some people become emotionally addicted to being needed because usefulness became tied to their worth. When you are constantly praised for sacrificing yourself, confusing self-neglect with love, you start believing, if people need me, then I matter. And that creates a dangerous cycle. Saying no feels selfish. Resting feels lazy. Disappointing people feels unsafe. Boundaries feel mean, and asking for help feels weak. So what do? You overextend, overgive, overfunction, overaccommodate, and eventually you emotionally disappear inside your own life. And you know what's interesting about all of this? Secretly fantasize about disappearing for a week. No calls, no responsibilities, no expectations, no emotional labor, just silence. And the reason that fantasy feels so powerful is because your nervous system is craving relief. You've distracted yourself, you've entertained yourself, you've numbed yourself, but relaxed? No, because your brain is constantly scanning what needs to be handled, what needs fixing, who needs me, who did I forget, what did I forget, what's next. And that is not peace. That is hypervigilance wearing a productivity outfit. Surface level self-care doesn't always work. Now, let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with skincare, journaling, massages, routines, vacations, or even wellness habits. Those things can actually support you. But support is not the same as transformation because you cannot spa day your way out of chronic emotional overextension. You can't meditate your way out of constantly abandoning your own needs. You cannot fix exhaustion when you are constantly giving everyone around you unlimited access to you. That's like trying to charge your phone and you have like 42 apps running in the background. Eventually, that battery is going to drain again. A lot of people are trying to recover without changing the behaviors that's causing the exhaustion. And that is why relief never lasts. You rest for a moment, then immediately go back into overdrive. And honestly, some people don't even need another routine. They need permission to stop performing strength all the time because being the strong one is exhausting, especially when no one realizes that the strong one needs support too. Your body keeps score of what your mind is constantly trying to push past. And eventually, emotional load becomes physical. That's when you start experiencing brain fog, sleep issues, irritability, chronic fatigue, overstimulation, anxiety, or even difficulty concentrating. And a lot of people think, I just need more motivation. No, sometimes your nervous system needs safety. There is a difference because a dysregulated nervous system needs rest. Some people sit down to relax and immediately feel guilt or anxiety or the urge to get back up and do something else. That is conditioning. Your body has learned that slowing down is unsafe. So now your body associates stillness with discomfort. And that is why some people stay busy non-stop. Not because they love productivity, but because productivity distracts them from themselves. Busyness can become emotional avoidance. Scrolling, working, cleaning, overcommitting, always doing something, anything to avoid sitting with what you actually feel. But eventually your body will interrupt the performance because the human body was never designed for nonstop emotional output without recovery. And at some point, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Who are you? When are you not needed, not useful, not productive, not fixing something, not helping someone, but just you? A lot of people don't know because they've spent years building an identity around responsibility. And listen carefully, responsibility is not bad. Being dependable is not bad. Being caring is not bad. The problem happens when your entire identity is centered around carrying everyone else around you because eventually resentment starts to grow under the surface. Even if you love the people around you, you start feeling emotionally crowded, touched out, emotionally overloaded, invisible. And then guilt shows up because you think, I should be grateful, I should be able to handle this, or other people have it worse. Meanwhile, your body is begging for space. And I need people to hear this clearly. You deserve relationships that are not tied to your usefulness. You deserve to exist outside of what you can provide. That realization changes everything because now balance stops meaning things like, how do I fit more things in my schedule? And now it means, how do I stop abandoning myself while trying to care for everyone else? And that is a completely different conversation. So what does balance actually look like? Not perfection, not having everything figured out, not a perfect color-coded routine. Real balance starts with honesty. Honesty about your limits, your capacity, your emotional state, your needs, and even your exhaustion. And then you rebuild differently, not through performance, through alignment. So now maybe balance looks like answering fewer calls, protecting your mornings, saying no without over-explaining, asking for help, resting before burnout. Maybe it's sitting in silence or just letting people solve their own problems. Some of y'all are carrying responsibilities that were never supposed to be yours in the first place. And your exhaustion is trying to tell you that you don't need to become less caring. You just need to stop disappearing while caring for everyone else. Some of you have spent so much time becoming who everyone else needs, you have not checked in with yourself in years. And maybe this next season of your life is not about becoming more impressive. Maybe it's about becoming honest. Honest about what drains you, honest about what hurts you, honest about what no longer fits you, and honest about how tired you actually are. Because you don't have to earn rest by collapsing first. You don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. If this resonates with you, I want you to comment, "I'm reconnecting with myself." And if you want more conversations about emotional intelligence, identity, healing, subscribe. Because over here, we're not just learning how to function better, we are learning how to actually live. And remember, it is never a question about whether or not you belong in this room. So keep taking up space, and I'll see you in the next conversation. Let's move.